When we think of Alexander the Great, the image that often comes to mind is of a fearless leader charging into battle, sword raised high, rallying his troops to victory. His military prowess and daring tactics are legendary, and his name is forever linked with conquest and glory on the battlefield. But Alexander's true genius extended far beyond the clash of swords and the roar of armies. He was not just a warrior, but a visionary strategist who understood the deeper forces that shape empires. One of his most powerful tools was not forged in iron, but in silver and gold. Money itself became his secret weapon. Alexander realized that to create a lasting empire, it wasn't enough to simply conquer new lands. True power came from controlling wealth, resources, and the flow of commerce across vast territories. Coins stamped with his image traveled farther than his armies ever could, reaching distant markets and uniting people from different cultures in ways that force alone never achieved. With these coins, he paid his soldiers, funded the construction of new cities, and projected his influence long after the battles had ended. His economic policies helped his empire thrive and endure. A sword can force obedience for a moment, but a coin can inspire cooperation, loyalty, and participation for generations. By introducing a standardized currency, Alexander laid the groundwork for a new kind of empire, one bound together by commerce, shared interests, and economic opportunity. His true legacy was not just in the lands he conquered, but in the cities he founded, the trade routes he opened, and the economic order he established across continents. So, as we journey through Alexander's story, let's look beyond the battles and the glory of war. Let's discover how his vision for wealth, unity, and prosperity transformed the ancient world and left a mark that endures to this day. Alexander was more than a conqueror with a sword. He was a masterful empire builder with a grand plan for the future. And that plan, his vision for a connected world, was stamped onto every coin he made, echoing through history. To truly understand Alexander the Great, we must journey back to his formative years in the rugged land of Macedon, a kingdom on the edge of the Greek world. Born to the ambitious King Philip II and his strong-willed queen, Alexander was destined for greatness from the very beginning, raised in a royal court filled with intrigue and ambition. His education was nothing short of extraordinary. His personal tutor was Aristotle, the greatest philosopher of the age, who shaped his mind and character. Under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander delved into philosophy, politics, science, and literature, learning to see the world as a vast, interconnected tapestry of ideas and cultures. This was no ordinary prince. He was trained not only in the arts of war, but also in the art of leadership, strategy, and wisdom, skills that would set him apart from other rulers. When his father was assassinated, Alexander, barely 20 years old, suddenly found himself thrust onto the throne, facing enemies both within and beyond his borders. He inherited not only a powerful, battle-hardened army, but also his father's grand ambition to conquer the mighty Persian Empire and expand Macedonian influence. Yet Alexander's vision reached even further. He dreamed of uniting East and West, blending cultures, and forging a new civilization that would outlast his own lifetime. Inspired by Aristotle's teachings, he sought not just personal glory, but a lasting transformation of the world, hoping to leave a legacy that would inspire generations. He saw himself as a hero in the ancient mold, but one who would build, not merely destroy, an architect of new cities and ideas. With dreams of founding new cities, opening trade routes, and spreading knowledge, Alexander set out to reshape the world in his image. The stage was set for one of history's most remarkable chapters, a story of ambition, vision, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Alexander was ready to march forward, not just to conquer, but to create a legacy that would echo through the ages. In 334 BC, Alexander crossed into Asia, beginning a campaign that would reshape the world. In just over a decade, he built an empire stretching from Greece to the Indus Valley, the largest the West had ever seen. He toppled the mighty Persian Empire and became master of vast territories. But Alexander wasn't just a conqueror, he was a builder. He founded over 70 cities, many named Alexandria, as centers of trade and administration. He often kept local officials in place, integrating them into his new system. His real innovation was economic, establishing new cities as melting pots of culture and commerce. Alexander knew that shared prosperity, not just force, would hold his empire together. He was building an empire designed to last, united by wealth as much as by war. Armies march on their stomachs, but Alexander's army marched on silver and gold. The lifeblood of his campaigns wasn't just courage or strategy, but the relentless flow of precious metals that kept his forces moving forward. His campaign against Persia was costly, and his father's funds ran out quickly. The Macedonian treasury, once flush with Philip's conquests, was soon drained by the scale of Alexander's ambitions and the vastness of his army. The solution: seize the Persian treasuries. Alexander realized that to sustain his momentum, he needed to capture the enemy's wealth and make it his own. As he captured cities like Sardis, Susa, and Persepolis, Alexander gained access to immense stores of gold and silver. These legendary vaults, untouched for generations, now became the engine of his empire. Historians estimate he captured thousands of tons of bullion, enough to pay his soldiers, fund new cities, and keep his war machine moving. The sheer scale of this wealth was unprecedented in the ancient world. This wealth wasn't just loot, it was the fuel for his empire. It allowed Alexander to dream bigger, to plan further, and to reward loyalty on a scale never seen before. Alexander used it to pay his troops, build fleets, and commission weapons. Every coin minted and every payment made was an investment in the future of his expanding realm. He melted down old Persian bullion and minted his own coins, injecting new life into the economy. These coins bore his image, spreading his influence and authority across conquered lands. Each victory brought more treasure, which funded the next campaign, a self-perpetuating cycle. The more he conquered, the more resources he had to conquer further. By turning static hoards into circulating currency, Alexander transformed the enemy's wealth into the lifeblood of his new world. Markets flourished, and his soldiers spent their pay, spreading prosperity and his legacy. His financial strategy was as crucial as any battle plan. Without this economic ingenuity, even the greatest army would have faltered far from home. The Persian gold didn't just change hands, it changed history. It shifted the balance of power and reshaped the ancient world's economy. Alexander's empire was built as much on economic ingenuity as on military might. His ability to harness wealth was as legendary as his victories on the battlefield. Money, not just the sword, powered his conquests, and in the end, it was gold that truly built an empire. With Persian treasure in hand, Alexander faced a new challenge: how to use it. His answer was revolutionary. He launched one of history's largest, most standardized coinage operations. Mints across his empire struck vast quantities of silver tetradrachms and gold staters, all to a single standard. This unified currency replaced the confusing patchwork of local coins, making trade simpler and more efficient. Alexander chose the trusted Attic standard, breaking down economic barriers and encouraging commerce. The coins themselves were masterpieces, Heracles on one side, Zeus on the other, and Alexander's name inscribed. This was more than money. It was a tool of political control and cultural unity. Every coin declared, "This is Alexander's world." By standardizing currency, he forged a powerful instrument of empire. His coins became the glue that held his vast domains together. Alexander's coins were more than currency. They were propaganda in your pocket. In a world without mass media, coins spread his image and message far and wide. The choice of Heracles was deliberate. Alexander's dynasty claimed descent from the hero, reinforcing his legitimacy. The lion scalp symbolized power and victory over chaos, a perfect metaphor for his conquests. Later, coins even bore Alexander's own features, sometimes with divine attributes, elevating him to near godlike status. This was a radical move. Living rulers rarely appeared on coins before him. The coins normalized his divinity and authority, uniting his diverse subjects under a single image. Every transaction became a reminder of his rule and vision. His coins spread Greek art and myth across the empire, acting as agents of Hellenization. For people from Egypt to Persia, using his coins meant participating in Alexander's new world. Money became a tool for shaping identity and loyalty. Alexander's monetary reforms rewired the ancient economy. A single currency united Greeks, Egyptians, Persians, and more into one economic zone. Merchants could travel from the Nile to the Indus, confident their coins would be accepted everywhere. Trade flourished, and new cities like Alexandria became engines of commerce and culture. The standardized currency made long-distance trade easier than ever before. Economic integration bound the empire together, fostering cooperation and shared prosperity. Greek became the common language of trade, and the coins helped spread Hellenistic culture. Alexander pioneered globalization. He knew economic unity was the key to lasting power. Even after his empire fractured, the economic world he created endured. The Hellenistic age was built on the silver and gold of his universal currency. Alexander died young, but his economic legacy outlived him. His generals fought for control, but they kept minting his coins for centuries. The silver tetradrachm with Heracles and Zeus became the most trusted currency in the region. Successor kingdoms used his designs for stability and continuity. Even as rulers added their own portraits, they followed Alexander's precedent. The Romans later adopted these ideas, putting their emperors on coins. Every Roman coin with a ruler's face echoes Alexander's innovation. He turned coinage into a tool of statecraft and identity. His vision of economic integration shaped the ancient world and beyond. Alexander's story proves empires are built with economic vision as much as military might. He used wealth to fuel conquest, unify his realm, and spread his image. His universal currency connected people, fostered trade, and laid the foundation for the Hellenistic age. The principles he pioneered, economic integration, shared currency, and financial power, still resonate today. Our globalized world, with dominant currencies and economic alliances, echoes his strategies. The euro, the US dollar, and the idea of economic unity all trace back to his innovations. As we navigate today's world of finance and power, we're still living in the shadow of Alexander's genius. The king who conquered with both sword and coin still shapes our world.